All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather. We're going to do something a little more different, a little more informal tonight. We are, of course, on the cusp of having a few storms tomorrow, and it seems like a lot of you are concerned about the timing of those storms, whether it be in the morning, in the evening, whatever the case is. And so I wanted to do something just a little bit different, a little more informal, so that I can answer questions, go on from there. And I did this kind of short notice, so I didn't have a lot of time to get set up with the green screen and that kind of thing. But I wanted to go ahead and just sit and kind of chat through all of this, what we're seeing. For now, we look at the radar, and this is kind of this is the it's MRMS, multi radar mosaic, and this is what shows us basically what comes from multiple radar towers, and gives us the kind of an idea, right, of what we're seeing across a larger area. And right now you can see across western Oklahoma and the Texas Panhandle, we had a little storm that between Fort Worth and Wichita Falls that tried to do something, but that one wasn't really able to hang on very well. We kind of zoom in on North Texas here. So this storm just northeast of Graham wasn't really able to do much. You can see some more development up near Bowie. And it's kind of having a hold on here. Let me get to where you can see the mouse there. There we go. All right, that's going to be easier for me to explain everything. So, all right, let me check on something that just came through. Okay, so flood watch north of us, not including our area. Okay, cool. Just had to check on that. So what we're seeing again is some development from near northeast of Graham. What is that? Jacksboro towards Bowie, and that's expected tonight. So I'm just going to jump right into some of the models here. This is going to be the high resolution rapid refresh model. The 0Z is not done yet, so that's going to be an extended run. I should have, I guess, waited about 15 minutes or so. I should have waited until about 8:30. But here's what we're expecting overnight tonight. So, number one, you can see some showers across our area. I don't think much of this is reaching the ground. In fact, I'm not sure any of it is. I don't know if any of you are getting any kind of rain so far today or have gotten any light rain today, but we're not really looking at anything happening beyond that. So, what we're going to see is whoa, that wasn't supposed to happen. Northwest of us, we're going to see some development, and you can see that here. So, bing, just north of Fort Worth. There you can see that development there. The National Weather Service has marked this, or rather the Storm Prediction Center has marked this area, a pretty broad area actually, as seeing the potential for storms tonight. And they're saying that a watch is possible. They're saying a 60% chance of a watch, so not really thinking that's too much. But what you're going to see is northwest of us, boom, there it is, from all the way, really, from the Rio Grande all the way up in Oklahoma. Just a complex of storms blowing up overnight. So this is 3 a.m. So 3 a.m. here, this is what we're seeing. And we go to 4 a.m., 5, 6. So here's a couple of things I want to throw at you before we go any further. Is one, severe weather is possible for our area. There is a slight risk of severe weather as we get into the morning hours. Additionally, as we'll see in a few minutes, there is a possibility that we could see more of this as we go forward. We could have more storms throughout the day. So I will tell you, though, as far as tomorrow is concerned, really the morning time seems to be kind of the focus here. So that's 6 a.m. There's 7, 8, and 9. So what you notice, let me kind of do this again. So, and we have somebody on YouTube saying they have no sound. Hopefully you can hear me, but that may be something on their end. But so you notice 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you notice that it kind of gets stuck here. So this front is going to stall over our area, and as it does, This complex is going to kind of stop moving. Now, what's interesting, you go to 9, 10, 11 a.m., it does show a little complex. We'll zoom in a little bit. A little complex through the Metroplex. Now, again, just a reminder, this is not saying that, this is going to be exactly in this location, but it does think that there could be some, you see the bow shape. So it's kind of thinking, hey, there could be maybe some, windy storms through that period of time. So that takes us through 11 a.m. Now that's the latest that goes. So let's go to that 0Z. I really should have waited a little while to give that some time to run. But if we look at, this was an earlier run, but this is the last extended run of the HR. If we get through tomorrow, I mean, it's pretty similar, right? 8, 9, 10. As we get through the day, 1, 2, 3 o'clock. So this is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so you see through the day, this is noon. That's 3 o'clock. So, I mean, you can see that there's kind of some spotty, thunderstorms here and there, showers and thunderstorms through the day. As far as severe weather, really, I think the primary concern is going to be those storms coming in from the west early tomorrow morning. So that will be part of that calculation. Now, as we get into the rest of the day, you can see it mostly along and west of I-35 West. And then 4 o'clock, you see this thin line west of us, and then you see behind it, you can see more, strong storms developing. So across our area, again, throughout the day, just kind of off and on thunderstorms possible. And, you can see everything kind of progressing eastward throughout the evening hours. But west of us, right, Abilene up to Bowie, that's where you see what the model is calling some pretty intense supercell thunderstorms. So kind of back this off a little bit again. And so there you can see what I'm talking about. And going forward there, that's 10 o'clock. This is going to set up Sunday morning. So there you can see from Midland to Big Spring over to Snyder, south of the Lubbock area. So my Lubbock friends, you're not really included in this necessarily as much as areas south of you. But you can see it marching along overnight. And as we get into 5 a.m., you notice that the southern, the southern edge of that kind of falls apart, and it's still rolling on the north side. But then as we get to 8 a.m., right, 7, 8 a.m., most of that has fallen apart. And I think part of that is going to be that this is actually going to be the coolest part of the day. Remember that, the reason we have afternoon heating, even though the sun is directly over us at noon, is because it takes 3 or 4 hours for all of the heat to get here. So that's why we're not hottest when the sun is directly over us. So likewise here, this will be around sunrise. This is going to be the coolest we've been. This is going to be right before we start warming up for the day. And as I say that, pay attention to the fact that as we get into 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 12, originally, yesterday, we were talking about how the storms looked like they were going to be out of here by sunrise. But then you notice last night, I started talking about the trend was starting to reverse itself. Now it was trending a little later. That's what we've seen today, is that for Easter morning, we are looking at everything kind of trending a little later, unfortunately. So it does look like it could be a kind of a rainy period of time for some of those sunrise services. I know a lot of those are outdoors. I've been saying it all week long. If you have outdoor plans, have an indoor alternative. So I know a lot of people don't listen to that, and then they seem shocked when they have to change things right on a change on a dime. But we give you the information we've got, and then it's up to you to take it from there. But as you see, that's 1 o'clock. And you can see things are starting to heat, starting to light up a little bit. We will see this line re-intensify east of our area, assuming this doesn't slow down anymore. If it slows anymore, if it comes in any later, we could be looking at more of a severe weather threat for our area. But for now, it looks like everything's going to kind of reanimate east of us. Now, let's contrast that to the NAM model just for the sake of getting some context here. So again, you can see now this had storms in our area blowing up now. And obviously that's not happening. So the NAM model that we got, this was the run at 2 o'clock. So the NAM model kind of missed the mark here on, those storms. HR didn't have it, so HR won for today. But as you can see again, this has everything moving in around 2 a.m. So this is actually ahead of when the HR model has it coming in. But what I want to show you, that's tomorrow morning. But, it still shows throughout the day kind of some spotty activity. The NAM model really gives us more of a break through the day. But again, early Easter Sunday morning, you see a line develop to the west and then weaken as it moves through. Now, NAM model gives it a little more oomph. And so, we'll have to watch it and see what it does in the morning. But as I said, there you go. It shows it reanimating east of us and really just kind of barely east of us. So again, if this slows down anymore and this is, this front is in our area come, 1, 2, 3 o'clock, we could be looking at strong to possibly severe storms in our area during that period of time. So we will have to watch and see what that does. But for now, the main thing to take away from tomorrow, and I do think that for the most part, let's see, what do we have here for the HR model is still running, so we don't have a complete run here for the HR model. But okay, yeah, still about 6 a.m. Now, I will say the HR model is giving this complex a little more, like I said, a little more intensity as it goes forward. And again, there you can see, that's 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon. You can see that we're still having, as this front kind of hangs around, still have some off and on. And then there we go, 3 o'clock, right at daytime heating. We start blowing up to the west. And then that will eventually there, again, 4 o'clock, you can see more. This is tomorrow, 4 o'clock tomorrow, you can see, more kind of off and on showers and thunderstorms as everything sets up to our west. And then that's where that run ends. It's still running, but again, west of our area. This is 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Still see some storms in our area. So the moral of the story for Saturday, for tomorrow, is storms off and on. You guys have been beating me up asking what time is the rain going to be on Saturday? What time is it going to be? There's not a start and stop time. Rain's going to be in the area throughout the day. It's going to be off and on, so I don't know that you necessarily need to totally cancel plans. But I will say, just expect that, you could be it could be kind of a start and stop deal. Could be lightning, going on. I know that that's a concern with outdoor events. I know a lot of you are talking about Scarborough Renaissance Festival. Hey, it's your call. If you want to try to wait a little bit, maybe wait for, see if Sunday afternoon, maybe it's going to be a little more docile, or wait for another weekend. I'm not going to tell you that you should or should not do that, but I will tell you, if you don't want to have to kind of dodge storms and you don't want to have to deal with kind of an off and on rain situation, that's probably what we're looking at for tomorrow. Now, let me see if I've got any more of this HR run. It's loading as we're talking, so let's see. Yeah, so hold on. Okay. All right. So this is 8 o'clock tomorrow night, and this has some stronger storms popping up in our area ahead of all the crazy stuff going on to the west. And, okay. So HR model has some more intense activity in our area tomorrow evening. So that's kind of a new trend from HR. Now, I will tell you the HR model can sometimes be blamed for being a little bit dramatic. And I don't want you to take that as, understate everything the HR gives you. Not necessarily saying that. What I am saying is that in this case, I'm going to watch trends. I want to see if this continues or, what the case is. But tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, evening time will be when I'm watching for possible severe weather in our area. Between those two, I think things are going to be a little more relaxed. We'll get a break from the more intense activity. I think at least through from 11 to 2 or 3 o'clock. It may still be raining, may still have some rolls of thunder, but I think the most intense stuff is kind of chilling out by that time, and that's where we run out of frames. Like I said, it's running as we talk. So we'll go back to live radar here. And like I said, you can still see some of this activity. Man, this really, that little storm went away, but this new one just west of Bowie, east of Seymour, is trying to get started. So we're going to see more activity to the northwest. That's expected. But I don't expect to see storms here tonight, even though the NAM model was so deadgum sure we were going to have storms. I'm a little happy I didn't watch that earlier, because I would have been going, what in the blazes? But clearly that didn't verify. So now I'm not going to take my eyes off the radar. Crazier things have happened, as those of you in Mansfield and Midlothian and Red Oak and Waxahachie found out the other morning, actually, when we had the only storm in Texas that dropped a bunch of hail and blew right through. Blew up, ran through, died. It was just wild. But crazier things have happened. Crazier things can happen, without a doubt. So, and I apologize if I'm really loud. But this microphone is doing very well. And picking up, I think the volume might have been bumped on this thing. So in our particular area, we've seen some of this kind of these little echoes here. There's my cursor. And I don't think most of that is reaching the ground. It's plenty. The dew point's 69 right now here at the studio. That's plenty soupy to get some rain. So we might have had some light rain falling, but for the most part, I don't think so. So the activity tonight is to our northwest, and overnight tonight we're going to see more of it to the west. And then tomorrow morning we'll see some of that move east into our area. Throughout the day tomorrow, I think we get a lull in between rounds of storms. But tomorrow afternoon, evening, we might be looking at some storms going on. So I'll be up early in the morning to watch that first round come in, and I'll of course be ready for severe weather coverage should that be deemed necessary. And then, I'll be watching tomorrow evening as well. Now, as far as Sunday morning, our Sunday forecast, what we're looking at is another, kind of run of storms possible in the morning, and then it's still looking like we're pushing things a little later. I want to see what this extended HR gives us once that is done loading here. Any model, it takes a little time. Got to be patient. But I want to see what that tells us in terms of the timeline, because it has been trending later to where we have storms in the morning, but then we have rain lingering through at least the early afternoon. And I know that that's going to jack with a lot of outdoor plans, those sunrise services and those kind of things. So, there's not a whole lot of solace I can give you there, unfortunately, but, it is what it is, as far as what we're going to see. Now, let's see what we've got from the HR. Again, this is loading as we speak. So, okay, so 9 p.m. tomorrow night, that shows a few storms in our area. Okay, so here's what we're looking at as far as the HR model. That's 12 a.m. Sunday morning. So this shows, if we go back to 9 o'clock tomorrow night, Saturday night, it has some storms in our area, strong to possibly a few severe storms, and then clearing out by midnight, and then that's when you can see everything to our west. And that's where we run out of. I'm so impatient for this thing to finish loading. Man, I wish I would have waited until 8:30. I didn't think about my timelines here as far as when the models were going to drop. The good news is that we're still seeing, from what I understand, let me grab this over here. It looks like we're still expecting to see the heavier rain amounts west of us. So we had some flooding concerns there for a little while. But it does look like we're going to be able to avoid that. So I think we'll be able to get away from those perceived, possible flooding issues. Man, that's the late. It's just going to go little by little here. What you're looking at, that's 2 a.m. Sunday morning. So we're still seeing the complex to our west that is going to march eastward. And the last, several model runs here have had that complex weakening quite a bit as it gets closer and moves in. Essentially, as soon as it hits 35 west, it starts falling apart. So Kayla, yes, we've been covering that timeline. We're kind of working on that right now. So if you'll hang with us, we'll go back over that here in just a second. We are currently letting the HR model, the short-term high-resolution model load, and that takes a little while. And I've been asked several times about soccer games and different games in the morning. So while we wait for the prognosis for early Sunday morning, let's go ahead and take another look at Saturday morning. So this is 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can see a nice big complex of storms headed our way. Michelle Cornett, well, you're saying the radar is showing 12 a.m. Saturday morning. Yeah, so we're going through models right now. That's what we're looking at. And if you're looking at Futurecast doesn't that's an industry, that's a TV industry term. It's just a weather model. So that's what we're working on right now. But that is 6 a.m. So you can see it's starting to move into our western counties. Could be still some strong to severe storms, but it is in a weakening trend at that point. That's 7 a.m., 8, 9, 10 a.m., 11, 12, 1. So what you need to get from this, that's 2 p.m., is, as I've said a few minutes ago, off and on storms tomorrow. Off and on rain, off and on storms. That's what we're going to be looking at. This is not going to be a situation where, it moves through, it gets here at this time, it's here at this time, it's here at this time, and it's gone. It's going to kind of just be stationary throughout the area because this front is going to be stationary. So now, again, as we heat up towards the west, you see that little cell that it's showing you near Sweetwater. That is the new development out there. But again, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I mean, we're just going to have to deal with off and on showers and thunderstorms throughout the day tomorrow. I don't think it rains constantly. I think it's just going to be kind of an off and on activity as we go through the day. And then tomorrow evening, we could see a resurgence of storms in our area as the really intense stuff is farther to the west. And then as we get into early Sunday morning, again, like I said, we have those storms coming in from the west. We should have a few new frames here. So let me see. How far does that get us? That's going to get us about 5 a.m. Yeah. So you can see here, this is Sunday morning. This is Easter morning. You see the storms coming in, and then you can see that it's in a weakening trend. It's starting to fall apart. And that's where we run out of frames for now. So, but I mean, Sunday morning, we will have storms headed our way, but they will be in that weakening trend Could still be some noise there. Could still be, plenty of lightning and thunder and those kind of things. But that's 5 a.m. Sunday morning. That's what we're looking at, and looks to me, and I mean, it looks to be a continuation of the trend where, things weaken, and I mean, arriving around 6 a.m. So I'm not really seeing much of a difference in timing with this new run, at least not on the front end. Anytime you have something like this, though, you can have rain that will hang around for a while. It seems like sometimes when we get these systems through here, you just have even just light rain that just seems to linger forever. And that's kind of, I think, maybe what we're looking at some of for tomorrow, unfortunately, because I know everybody's going to be ready for this stuff to move out of here. But that's just going to be part of it. So we can go through 7 a.m. here tomorrow. So this is Sunday morning, 7 a.m. Sunday morning. So sunrise, yeah, still have some showers and thunderstorms in the area. So unfortunately, it does look like you'll definitely need an indoor alternative plan for some of those outdoor sunrise services. That's my kind of my prognosis here. That's what I'm going to tell you. And like I say, we're getting bits and pieces of the HR model that's loading as we're talking. Go ahead and throw your questions. Kayla, hopefully that answered your question asking about the timeline. Go ahead and load your questions in the chat here. I've had a lot of questions come up on the posts and in messages and all kinds of stuff asking about the weather tomorrow and Sunday morning. So hopefully this, is addressing those questions. And I mean, it's one of those things where unfortunately I don't have a whole lot. The if there's good news to be had here, it is that those storms will be weakening as they move in, both tomorrow morning and Sunday morning. So either point, I'm not expecting the much more severe storms that they're probably going to have out in West Texas. So I mean, there's that. It essentially it's kind of it could be worse cop out there, but that's what I've got for you. Now, we'll get this updated here because we can go as far as 9 a.m. So this is Sunday morning again. The line of storms coming through, but you can see that's 6 a.m., 7, 8, and 9. So by 9 a.m., it's getting ready to leave, but you can see some of the rain behind it. So again, I mean, it's, we're going to have some rain hanging around for a little while on Easter, I think. Easter, lunchtime, it'll probably be kind of making its way out, lunch, 1 o'clock. So that's kind of what we're looking at. So the good news is, if you wanted to move the Easter egg hunt to the afternoon hours, you're probably going to have a better chance of avoiding some of the storms at that point. I know my family, we do lunch, and we do an Easter egg hunt after that. So assuming we do it outside, we may change that, but yeah, I mean, if you want to try to wait until the afternoon, maybe wait until after church for the Easter egg hunting and that sort of thing, that might work out for you to kind of move those things down the timeline a little bit so that there's a better opportunity to let the rain skedaddle out of here. And I've got another monitor here. Yeah, so this is showing by 10 a.m. most of this is moving out. So what I'll tell you, 9, 10 o'clock, it's moving out. By noon, 1 o'clock, I think we should be clearing at least most of it out. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're seeing here. Let me just kind of go over this one more time. I know there's probably been some new folks that have jumped in. Let me just kind of pivot back here. For tonight, we are looking at storms to our northwest. The NAM model, if you looked at any kind of future radar or anything and it showed storms coming through tonight, that was the NAM model blowing up some storms and moving through mostly the Metroplex, Ellis, and Johnson counties and moving on east. Doesn't look like that's going to happen because it's supposed to be here, like, it's supposed to have been here for an hour at least, and it's not happening. I'll watch that just to be sure, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. What does look like it's going to happen, let me pivot back to the HR model here, is that we get into 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. Again, here's that line of storms. By 5, 6 o'clock, it's moving in. So I will probably set the alarm for 4 in the morning, which I really don't want to do, but probably going to have to. 4 in the morning and moving forward, and then we get to 7 a.m., still some storms around. Now I want to show you this. This is crucial. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You see throughout the morning more storms hanging around. That's 1 o'clock, 2, and 3, and then 4 and 5. So you see more storms west. That's setting up for Sunday morning. But what I want to show you is Saturday night, we start blowing up some storms here locally. I'm unsure how much confidence I have in the storms in our area. Very confident out west. Not too confident in this. This is relatively new, so I want to see what this does. I want to see what continued long-term models, longer-term runs show us. But I'm not too confident yet in the storms in our area tomorrow night. Shows some pretty impressive stuff, but we'll see. Now, this is getting to midnight Sunday morning. That's 3 a.m. Now, like I said, we can expect this complex of storms Sunday morning, Easter morning, but by 5 a.m. it starts to weaken. That's 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. So it's moving through, but should be in a weakening trend. And then by the time we get to 10 a.m., 11 a.m., should be clearing out. Now, as we get to 12 and 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock, we'll be watching for kind of a resurgence of activity east of our area. That's 12 o'clock. So 12, 1, 2. And you see one of these little here, you can see kind of the very back edge of some of this activity. I think it's definitely going to be East Texas. As far as what we're expecting to see, where we're expecting to see storms tomorrow afternoon. But, I mean, there's some leeway here. So I may, it all looks east of I-45. But there's some leeway there, so we'll see what this does, how this trends overnight, and I'll be watching that to see what kind of thing we can expect for Easter afternoon. But for now, it does look like, let me check on another monitor here. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be east of our area, east of 45, where we can expect storms Easter afternoon, and then going on east from there. Kim Hefner, will the storms be bad tomorrow around 7? Well, like we just showed you, that complex will be weakening as it moves through. So I can't guarantee they won't be strong to severe, but they'll be in a weakening trend. So if they are severe, they'll be on the downslope at that point. That's really the only other way I can explain that. So we are, staring down the barrel of Easter weekend and could see some storms through our area. We'll see at least a few. Looks like the best opportunities for storms are going to be Saturday morning. I'm going to be watching Saturday evening to see what happens there, see if these model trends keep that going. And then Sunday morning, we will have storms come through. Looks right now like they'll be weakening as they move in. So not expecting a whole lot of severe weather or anything like that. And then I think by Sunday afternoon, we're clearing out and things should be more calm. Now, unfortunately, next week looks very busy. I have a lot of schedule work to do. I've got a lot of things planned next week and maybe kind of dodging storms there. But that's what we are looking at for next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Off and on, storms possible there as well. So if you missed out on all the information, didn't mean to hit the microphone there. if you missed out on all of this, this will be posted after this is over for you to go back and watch. Um, and again, I apologize that I didn't wait for this model to run all the way through before I jumped in. That would have been helpful, and I did not do that. So, but I mean, we hit the broad strokes, and it didn't really change a whole lot from those previous runs, what we posted earlier. I mean, what's really set in stone is tomorrow morning, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, really 5, 6, 7 o'clock, I would say. Storms moving in from the west, and then going on from there, and then things kind of quiet down as we get into the noon hour tomorrow, and then possibly more tomorrow evening. So thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you missed it, wait for this to post, go back and watch from there, and we'll have more updates for you as we go through the next few days here in North Central Texas.